Hello, I'm going to show you how I make hair for my finished crocheted toys. What I have here is a hairpin lace frame. You can find them in most craft stores or yarn stores. They're near the knitting and crochet hooks. If you don't have one of these or can't find one, you can use a piece of cardboard or a small piece of wood. Really anything. It just needs to be smooth enough that the yarn can slide off of it, and the width is what will determine the length of your hair. So this is, let's see, it's about 2 1/4 inches wide. You can use pretty much whatever you want. It's just going to make your hair longer or shorter depending on what you use. And I'm going to start off with a worsted weight yarn, and normally I would work the chain with a piece of thread so it will blend in once I'm attaching the hair to the doll, but that's going to be kind of hard to see in the video, so I'm going to use another piece of worsted weight yarn for my chain. And this is pretty simple, but it's just a little bit easier to get confused while you're working it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with whatever I'm using for my chain. In this case it's the contrasting color yarn. It would usually be a piece of thread. And I'll get my chain started. I'll just make one chain stitch to start off. I'm going to take my yarn that I'm going to use for my hair, and I'm going to lay it over my yarn to get it started, and then just make one chain stitch with the hair yarn caught in the back of the chain stitch. And from there, I'm just going to hold my yarn ends. I take my hair yarn, I wrap it around. Let's see, it's a little easier if you hold it here. Take it, wrap it around, and again I'm wrapping my chain yarn behind and making a chain stitch to catch the yarn in the back of the chain stitch, and then I'll pull it taut just so it is a consistent width for each loop. And you're just going to do this for each loop. You're going to wrap your hair yarn around your chain yarn behind, make a chain stitch catching the hair yarn, wrapping the hair yarn around, catching it in your chain stitch, wrapping around. If you look, you can see that it's just a chain stitch running along the edge. And one tricky thing is this won't lock your hair yarn in place if you pull on any one of the loops. Once you have it off the frame, that will take up the slack of any of the other adjacent threads. So what you're going to do is, this is just going to get your yarn in a fringe, so you can tack it into place on your finished toy. You still need to tack it into place pretty well to keep all these loops from pulling. And even then, if you have a toy that you are going to want to wash frequently, or it's going to be played with by like a small child and it's going to get sort of roughed up a little, this technique isn't really the greatest for that. It's not terribly durable. It's just a little bit faster than stitching individual strands of yarn into place for the hair. And I have a piece of fringe already made, and this is what I would normally do. It is just a piece of sewing thread. See if we can get the focus a little better. You can see there's just a piece of black sewing thread for the chain, and that makes it, it holds the yarn in place a little bit better because it sort of cinches in and keeps the yarn from pulling through each of the stitches quite as easily. It will still pull, and then also it's easier to hide this.